We've already got a little bit of practice with importing and using a module, but there's a few nuances that I want you to know about as part of this. And I'm going to use the random module again because that's one that we have a little bit of familiarity with. The way we've been using random up to this point is like this. I'd say import random, and then when I want to use a function from that module, I'm typing the name of the module, dot, and then the name of the function, and then giving it the argument that it requires. That is the standard, most basic way to do things. Sometimes it's the best way to do things. However, what you noticed is when I ran the directory command against random, it's got a lot of crap in there. And a lot of it I'm not going to use at all. So if I was working with a program that maybe say imported a lot of different things from a lot of different modules, or was very memory intensive, and I wanted to just be a little bit more cautious, maybe I don't want to import the whole random module if I'm only going to use choice. What I can do is I can say something like from random import choice, and that will only bring in that function from that module, which is nice, both because it's less memory and it's using less memory then. Also, the side effect of this is I no longer have to say random.choice. If I say from random import choice, choice becomes as if it was just one of the functions that I'd written myself in that same program, and I use it just like this, choice, whatever. A word of caution about that. If you do that and you've got something else in your program named choice, perhaps another function that you've written named choice, then you're going to have a name conflict there. Okay, either one will overwrite the other, you get an error, the side effects could be unpredictable. So maybe you want to import it this way, maybe you want to do this, but there's another option. Okay, I could say from random import choice, and then I can say choice okay, so if I have an array list A, B, I'm just making a short fake little list so we can use this. There we go. So if I print the choice from AR list like this, I can do that, and it'll give me a random choice. Okay, there are only 3 possible choices, so I'm going to get a lot of repetition there. But let's say this is going to cause a name conflict from me. I can use as, the keyword as, and I can give it a new name, which now allows me to rename that function. So I can rename a function that exists. Now, it doesn't change it in the module, but it changes it in my program so that now I can do this. I also use the as keyword if whatever module it is has an obnoxiously long name, or if it's something I absolutely hate typing, or if I'm prone to typos or whatever, you can rename stuff on the fly. I can also do that with the entire random module. Maybe I don't like typing random. I can import random as RND, and then I would use that notation. Oh, that's why it's yelling at me. Import random as RND. Okay, so now I've imported the entire random module, but I've renamed the module that. So there are a lot of different ways to do things. I could even go shorter here if I wanted to. Now, Shorter has the sort of trade-off of being less descriptive or possibly having a greater possibility of conflicting with another name or whatever. But if I know what I'm doing and I know the scope and it seems fine to me, then I might make that decision. But it's something you can do using the keyword as. You can use that to rename an entire module in the context of your program, or you can use that to rename a function from that module in the context of your program. Most programmers who are, I would just say if they're strict about programming practices and conventions, would probably say that most of the time you don't want to import a whole module unless it's a module that you created. But these standard modules tend to be pretty big and wasteful. And if you're hardcore about that, you probably are like, well, I'm only going to import the things that I want. So from random, import, let's say I wanted to get the choice module or the choice function and also randint. So now I can use both of those just fine. So if I want to import more than one function, I can just put commas between them. I could use separate import lines, but this is a more efficient way to do it because it's only one import. You're just grabbing both of those at the same time. So you can have a comma separated list of however many functions you want from that. So that's a convenient way. So there's some flexibility and some nuance to importing things. For the purpose of this class, you could just import a whole module most of the time and you'll be fine. But if you want to really sort of hold yourself to a high standard of programming fluency, then you want to think about just what you're going to use and don't be wasteful.